top of this, all this stuff that's happening, there are no accidents. There isn't a thing that's happening in the legislature or in the educational system that is an accident. Everything is carefully controlled. Everything is carefully designed, and everything is going according to plan. We are living in a complete nightmare, and nobody realizes it. And then when you try to bring it to the attention of the people that can make a difference, they don't want to hear it. I've been to school board meetings till the cows come home for years, trying to tell these people to stop ruining these children with this curriculum, trying to tell these people to stop ruining these children with the microwave emissions, trying to stop ruining these children, telling them they came from rocks and putting social workers in there and medicating everybody. But that's what they want. They want everybody dumbed down, and they want them all thinking they're animals so they can treat them like they're animals. That's the plan. Telling you that the government is sterilizing school children. Telling you that the government is sterilizing school children. Telling you that the government is sterilizing school children. And you know what happens when people can't get pregnant? There's another side to this besides the fact that God is really upset about the fact that people are not being created to inhabit eternity. Kidnappings start increasing. Social service systems expand their reach and steal children, even more than they're already stealing now. Because guess what happens when children become commoditized? Price goes up. And what happens when the price goes up? People will do crazy things to get their hands on it. So there's nowhere to go but down, folks. And silence on this only ensures that one day it might be your kid that may end up getting plucked out of the supermarket when you're not looking. I don't know how far off this is, but it's coming. Science, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the absolutely most debauchery-ridden, debased, demoralized, sex-crazed generation in our history, and the birth rate is falling. And it's not because the girls are not forgetting to take their pills. It's because fertility is in rapid decline. There's a reason for that, folks. And it's not just what's in the water. On page 7 of this document, and it talks about how 42 years ago that the Defense Intelligence Agency was experimenting with microwaves on cells. Did you know that a single cell has the inner workings of something similar to New York City with its infrastructure? But they were figuring out ways to mess with the subcellular components of cells 40 years ago with microwaves. And guess what, folks? They perfected it, and they have deployed it. I want to talk to you about an experiment that was run on rats, folks. These are Wistar rats, and that's a wand that's basically a microwave transmitter on that rat's abdomen that was applied for 15 minutes a day for 15 days. It's right there at the bottom. And as you can see, it's conveniently located right on his zipper, because that's how these things are used. As you can see, that's where the deployment of the microwave signal is on the rat's abdomen. Now, that rat got it for 15 minutes a day for 2 weeks. This kid's going to get it for, I don't know, 5 hours a day for 25 years. Basically, what ended up happening, they checked out the rats, and you've got a decrease here anywhere from 25 to 50% decline in the ovarian reserves of those rats. Okay, so the girl that you carry to term in your womb and you stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning with the earaches or the nightmares caring for 18 years is going to sit through these classrooms, and nobody wants to talk about this because everybody says you're crazy when you bring this up. Nobody has the guts to tell the truth. These kids are being sterilized, and their brains are being destroyed by the nonsense they're being taught. These things are weapons. And everybody in this room, if you've got kids that you're using these things as babysitting devices, in Jesus' name, try to find a way to stop doing that. And you better hope that microwave beam that came out of that antenna didn't burn the one up that just happened to be the one that's trying to be in the same room as that sperm when she finally meets her husband after going to college for 15 years and buying a house. And then she ends up going to the in vitro fertilization clinic and they can't have a child. And you know what happens when people can't get pregnant? There's another side to this besides the fact that God is really upset about the fact that people are not being created to inhabit eternity. Kidnappings start increasing. Social service systems expand their reach and steal children, even more than they're already stealing now. Because guess what happens when children become commoditized? Price goes up. And what happens when the price goes up? People will do crazy things to get their hands on it. So there's nowhere to go but down, folks. And silence on this only ensures that one day it might be your kid that may end up getting plucked out of the supermarket when you're not looking. I don't know how far off this is, but it's coming. Apple is a cult. It's the cult of Mac. Apple's spending $5 billion on its corporate headquarters. People love Apple stock. It performs well. Tobacco stock performed really well too for a long time. That's their corporate headquarters, ladies and gentlemen. I want to show you something. I go to city council meetings. I read plans, planning commissions, all kinds of stuff. That right there is a slide off of their landscape architecture plans. This is actually taken from a video that they were pitched in the Cupertino City Council. I want you to look at this. That's off of their landscape architecture plans. This is the layout of how they're going to lay the place out in terms of where they're going to put the picnic benches and the trees. You notice any similarity to the sperm here and this guy over here? Let me take it a step further, because this was you in the two-cell stage. And this is Apple's corporate headquarters. Can you see what's happening to the nucleus, ladies and gentlemen? It's getting electrocuted. That's just one slide. Now, I'm not a gambler, but the odds of that are like putting your life savings on boxcars at the craps table. Those are some long odds. What's going on here? All right, so here's a little black and white version just to make it a little clearer for you. What are the odds of the landscape architecture plan from a satanic company that has put an iPad in the laps of every school-aged child in the United States doing this kind of stuff in light of this kind of stuff from 40 years ago? What are the odds? Like I said, Father, in Jesus' name, may you open the eyes of these people that are here and just have them understand that this is all real and this is not a joke. Please, Father, and grant us protection as we spread this information. To whom much is given, much is required. In Jesus' name. This is a sketch from Apple's corporate headquarters, written up by an architect, once again off the Cupertino City Council website. This is the center of the complex. It's like a spaceship looking thing. But I want to take your attention to this diagram right here. Can everybody see that? So that is this. Missing that. I spent 5 years at UCI looking at this stuff, looking at stuff under electron microscopes, doing all kinds of bizarre things that at the time when I was in my 20s, I wasn't even aware of what I was doing. I was just doing it and figuring out how to do it right so I could get the grades I needed to graduate. But ladies and gentlemen, what you see here is Apple's corporate headquarters. And it's a mirror image of a cross-section of the nucleus of a human egg. Except there's one thing missing. It's this part right here. That's the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. That's the subcellular component of the human egg that runs the Zoner reaction. In other words, when you have a sperm hit that egg in a billionth of a second, there's a flash of light and that egg hardens. Only one sperm gets in that egg. And it's run by that piece of equipment right there. And it just so happens on this document, it's amazing you brought this today, that's Providence. On page 7 of this document, it talks about how non-thermal power levels of microwave radiation logical changes to the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Page 7, second paragraph. So ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing right here is something that the devil himself has designed. That is a satanic company with technology deployed in the laps of every school-aged child in the United States And they're basically putting it out there in their landscape architecture plans what they're doing. That's evil. I saw probably one of the saddest moments of my life. And I've seen a lot of things. I've buried my father. I've seen people die. I've seen people die of cancer. But I was driving to school, and I'm driving by a school, and I saw these Hispanic women that look like the ones that come from the mountains of Mexico. You could tell they're poor. But they're walking these little girls to school. And it looked like they had First Communion dresses on. Because they thought they were helping these children by getting them an education. And these wicked people that won't listen, it's right here, it's right there. And these girls are getting brought into these classrooms. Zonia knows, I probably put 10,000 flyers on cars in my community. And the parents won't budge because they want to get their nails done. They want their kids at school so they can go out and hang out with their girlfriends and go to the gym. I don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is really serious. I mean, you know, you've got people in my community, all the school boards on the high school, in Anaheim, in Los Alamitos, in Fullerton, in Cerritos, in San Dimas. I don't know how many school board meetings. I've presented all this information. They don't care. You want to know why? Because they can't see. They're blind. They have not been born again by the Spirit of God. Ladies and gentlemen, do these people know what they're doing? I don't know. If they do, that's really scary. But what matters is that they're doing it. And you know what happens when people can't get pregnant? There's another side to this besides the fact that God is really upset about the fact that people are not being created to inhabit eternity. Kidnappings start increasing. Social service systems expand their reach and steal children, even more than they're already stealing now. Because guess what happens when children become commoditized? Price goes up. And what happens when the price goes up? People will do crazy things to get their hands on it. So there's nowhere to go but down, folks. And silence on this only ensures that one day it might be your kid that may end up getting plucked out of the supermarket when you're not looking. I don't know how far off this is, but it's coming. I'm so glad that you've all got nothing better to do tonight because, to be honest with you, you're really smart people for being here. Because most people could care less about what really matters. And, you know, I know Noah took 100 years to build that ark, and they thought it was a nut job, and I want to tell you something, his kids inherited the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, do these people know what they're doing? I don't know. If they do, that's really scary. But what matters is that they're doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, do these people know what they're doing? I don't know. If they do, that's really scary. But what matters is that they're doing it.